My name's Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Trillium. A couple of years back, I was out riding Highway 7, and it was a Sunday afternoon in the middle of the summer. It was a hot day, and there wasn't a car to be seen. And I come along this snapping turtle. It's trying to cross the road. It's right in the middle of Highway 7, moving like an inch an hour kind of thing. And I got this sense about myself that this turtle isn't going to make it. It's going to get creamed by somebody along the way. And it was a large one. So I thought to myself, I got to get out and help this thing. So I hopped off my bike and I approached the snapping turtle. And of course, it stops and looks up at me. And it's got that glare. You notice the snapping turtles have that glare, that kind of primordial hostility. It obviously sees me as a threat. Its worldview, how it's wired, sees me as a threat and only as a threat. And that's, I got thinking about that because, my intention was only to bless it. It was to take it out of destruction's path, to lift it out of destruction's way and take it to safety on the other side of the road. But it wasn't going to be able to accept that intention of mine. It couldn't recognize it in any way at all. And I knew that when I picked this thing up, it was going to resist me with every ounce of its will as possible. Last week, the Pope was in the United States. I think the tour's still on, actually, and saw a little bit of the clips from his speaking in the Congress, the United States. And I got thinking about the kind of life that he exemplifies in his own daily walk. What's interesting, though, is amazing as the Pope is, and as large as the Roman Catholic Church is, there are actually more charismatic Christians in the world than there are Roman Catholics. The charismatic church has exploded over the last 10 or 20 years in South America, in Africa, Asia, even in Europe and North America. In our secular environment, the charismatic church is the one form of Christianity that seems to have done reasonably well. And what distinguishes charismatic Christianity from other types of churches is that they take the experience of God very seriously. In mainline churches, we take the idea of God seriously, but we are very reticent about the experience of God. But in the charismatic church, this idea of God communicating with us, of having words of wisdom or knowledge given to us, of having blessings coming over our lives, miracles, wonders, signs given to us, prophecies, visions, the idea that this communication is going on from the Creator to ourselves in a continuous flow is just so much a part of their life community. People go to church with the idea that God's going to show up in that moment, and not just in church, but in their lives. In United Churches and at Trillium, we're still struggling to welcome the experience of God, even though our core, our bedrock beliefs are built on the notion of God showing up. For instance, we talk about God's helpline, prayer, as if there's kind of a red phone waiting for us to pick up when we're in really dire or tough circumstances. Or God's promise, we are not alone. This idea that this presence, loving, blessing presence walks with us through life. Or even maybe more importantly, God's hands, us. That we become the instrument of God's grace and goodness to the world by allowing God to move through us, allowing the Spirit to infiltrate our lives and become the expression to the world of God's goodness. And yet we waffle over experience here at Trillium. We're not sure how to deal with it. And somehow it's going to overturn our lives or tip us in the wrong direction. I'm sitting there with this turtle lamenting because I can't communicate to it my desire to only bless it and just to seek for its goodness in life. In the end, I couldn't figure out a way to communicate this intention to the turtle, so I just picked it up. And of course, it tried to scratch me, and it would have tried to bite me if it could have, as I moved it off the road onto the side. And I'm satisfied in the end that I saved it from destruction or potential destruction, that I did the right thing, but there's still a kind of sadness in me that I couldn't communicate to it my true intention. And I'm wondering if that's not true for God to us, I think most of us have been in the middle of a road at some point. Maybe God's come upon us in the middle of the road, and God only wants to bless us, to pour out His goodness upon our lives, and to move us from destruction to safety. But what do? We become turtles, and we resist God, and we try to scratch God as God tries to move us off to the side. I wonder if God feels sad in that moment too, for us, wishing somehow to communicate His intention of blessing to our lives.